Uh, Hello, everybody, to our new guest feature of IndiCast. We have Krishangi Sinha again with us for our second feature on the Bihar election and our third episode with her. So, because we know the first phase of election has concluded and it has recorded some impressive voter turnouts in Bihar, so we are just going to have a discussion about the conclusion of the first phase, the issues that still affect Bihar, and what maybe we'll take the risk of doing some forecasting also. So, Krishangi, without wasting much time, let's get your thoughts on the first phase.
So with the firstly, thank you so much for having me again. I think I think I'm seeing you more often than anybody else right now because of Bihar elections. So I think with a nearly 64% voter turnout, which is the highest in the state in assembly elections, it seems to us that people are coming out. People of Bihar are getting more political. They are proving it that Biharis are very politically active, be it from contesting elections to actually going out and voting. They are going there, want to be heard, which is a very positive change. I think it's very good to see people coming out and voting. It shows a very positive change towards elections when it comes to Bihar. It can mean both the things. When people talk about a higher voter turnout, it usually is that a need for change that is coming? Is there a change that is going to happen, or is it a more in support of what is already happening? So that would be something that would be interesting to see when the results come out on the 14th.
Right. I mean, there's this conventional wisdom, and I'm not going to take the risk of pretending to sound like a psichologist, but people used to say that higher voter turnouts often imply anti-incumbency kind of a behavior. So, when people come out, they vote radically, they vote in high numbers. So, it could signal change at some point. People usually do that, for example, in states like historically maybe Rajasthan, where people come in, vote in higher numbers, you always see the government being changed. So, do you
Yes.
think something similar is happening? What's your assessment?
So I think with this elections, if you see historically talking about Rajasthan, I would like to point out that Chhattisgarh in 2008 and 2013, there was the voter turnout increased by 7%. However, in both the elections, BJP won. If you see, for example, Madhya Pradesh from 2003 to 13, there was an increase from 67.25% to a 72.0% in the voter turnout. And yet all the three elections were won by BJP. So not usually the norm is that yeah, higher voter turnout means that people are going in for a change and want a change. But to positively say that yes, this is going to happen, I think it's too soon. I think the second phase is also left to see, and it can be that people are sort of mobilizing to vote for who's already in power, who is already doing the work. So it can mean both the things. Not usually, the usual norm is that yeah, it's anti-incumbency, which I think what the Mahagathbandhan is hoping for, but also that it might just be that people are coming out in support of the government which is already in power.
Right. There was one small network issue when you were repeating the figures. So can you just repeat the statistics related to Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh once more? Then we can proceed. Yeah.
So, for example, in Chhattisgarh, the voter turnout increased by nearly 7% between 2008 and 2013. And both the
Right.
elections were won by Bharatiya Janata Party. When it comes to Madhya Pradesh, between 2003 to 13, voter turnout went up from 67.25% to a 72.07%. And yet, all the three elections were won by BJP. So, saying that it is anti-incumbency of a high voter turnout, I think it's too soon to say. The state has its second phase of elections also left to go into. So, I think maybe after that you can discuss what it means, who is winning, who's not. But with the high voter turnout, I don't think we can make that prediction what it means.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Before we got on this call, I was watching I think a national interest by Shekhar Gupta on the print, and one thing that sort of stuck with me was that he said something fairly pertinent, is that Biharis are obsessed with politics to a fault. Like, he didn't say it in these words, but that was the implication. that to the extent that it sort of backfires now. And I see it a lot in like the people that I know and in my extended family and circles and all of those things. So I do think that maybe the anti-incumbency could also not anti-incumbency, the high voter numbers could also indicate that this is probably all that uh, we know how to do with respect to engaging with our political apparatus. That you all you can do is, when you feel powerless, when you feel unemployed, is that you can just go out and vote, right? So I mean, that actually points me to say that credit where it's due, that despite high number of unemployment, high number of caste related social strifes that Bihar has seen, despite everything, Bihari still have that unrelenting faith in the Indian democratic system, no matter which government comes. I think this could be a small indicator of that also. If
Yeah, it
if
absolutely. Sorry, yes.
No, no, I was done. I was done. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you see, it's sort of, I won't say it's a feeling of powerless. It's the fact that, if you speak to a voter before the elections, they hold that power. They know that they can make or break. And it's very impressive to see if you tell them, if you ask somebody maybe 10 years back, 12 years back, maybe two elections back, if you asked a voter कि आप किसको वोट देंगे और उन्होंने काम किया है कि नहीं, now they might, that time might not have had that confidence, but now they have that confidence to say कि हाँ अगर काम नहीं करेंगे तो हम बदल देंगे. They
Hmm.
know, they believe that they have that power, and it's very nice to see that they are that informed. Well, like
Hmm.
we discussed last of our episodes, that it's not just about the caste that they are voting for, or because they have been traditional voters for a certain party. Now they are looking at other issues also. They're looking at social issues, they're looking at employment, they're looking at who will actually do work for me, not just
Hmm.
who will work for my caste and community, but also as the youth of today, will they provide me jobs? If as the
Hmm.
women, will they provide me the financial aid that I require? Will that alcohol prohibition be there? Will it help me stay empowered or not? So there are
Hmm.
lots of other factors that are also coming in, and that's what is making them vote. When you go out and you ask, there are lots of news organizations which did the ground report on the voting day. And there are lots of people, they ask, आपने किसके लिए vote किया और क्यों किया? So it was
Hmm.
not just कि मुझे caste से belong करता था, but also because कि this is the person who's guaranteeing me a job, or was that कि हम change चाहते हैं. So that's
Yeah.
actually impressive to see that power as a voter people have, and people in Bihar have. So it makes us, for me as a Bihari, makes me feel really good that it's not only about a certain thing anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, I was also hearing, uh, uh, again, because you mentioned women, and you can't speak about women of Bihar without talking about Nitish Kumar. So he's made a bit of a comeback in the sense that he started mainstreaming himself in this election campaign, although I guess campaigning is over, but you're starting to hear more and more about him again. So let's just talk about him, his policies, his promises. What is, at the risk of forecasting a little bit, what do you think is going to be their performance this election, the JDUs?
So for Nitish Kumar, I think post Diwali, Nitish Kumar again came back into limelight because yes, when you talk about voter turnout, the Election Commission has said also that the voter turnout of women was slightly higher than men in some districts, which
Hmm.
means that women were coming out to vote, were looking for something, were looking to vote and to voice their opinion. So when you talk about women voters, I think historically speaking, they've always had an inclination towards Nitish Kumar, and very much, it's practical. It's a very justifiable thing. If you see in 2005, he made sure that girls got cycles to go to school. Then if you see in 2015, he got the alcohol prohibition, which women thought was helping them be more safe, feel more secure. Before, like pre 2005, if you talk about, women were not feeling that safe to go out, but today if you go out at 8 9 at night, you see women also out. So that safety security has come with Nitish Kumar's governance, and I think that's the reason the women voters have always had an inclination towards him. So when you
Yeah.
talk about women voter, I think that's the reason Nitish Kumar has again sort of come out in the election domain, that to get those women voters, you need Nitish Kumar because
Yeah.
he's actually work for them. You cannot deny that fact.
For sure. I also feel like whatever his future might be, he's obviously he's aged as human beings do. There's a lot also, said about his loyalties and his ideological lacking of an ideological framework, because you keep shifting your power alliances. But to his great credit, he really did pull Bihar out of like a
The
bad situation.
the
Yeah,
whole
of
narrative
course.
of Jungle Raj actually changed after Nitish Kumar came into power. The significant development happened. Whatever the state is in, whatever condition, good or bad, has been because of his governance. You cannot say that, for example, Patna is how it was 15 years back. There's been a lot of change, and
Yeah,
it should be, the credit should be given where it's due. And I think Nitish Kumar and his government has it, be it in alliance with when it was with RJD or when it's with BJP, whatever the situation, he's actually worked for the people, and that's one of the biggest reasons, election after election, and regardless of where he went, people voted for him. They still
yeah,
saw him as the chief minister.
yeah. And I remember in my childhood I had gone to my ancestral village in Samastipur in Bihar, and there was a there was for the first time, I think, I see, my understanding of politics was very limited. I was 8 years old. What did I understand? But I remember that was the first time we were having large amounts of uninterrupted power supply in our village, because prior to that, electricity distribution was also such a major issue that, speaking of Nitish Kumar being in power, ironically, or for a very naive, cheeky analysis, my first assessment was the impact it had on literal power, like electricity. So, because bijli aati thi, बिजली आती थी, and people would say कि oh, ये नीतीश का कमाल है, and I didn't even know what it I didn't even understand what a chief minister is properly in those days. I was 7 8 years old, but the name Nitish Kumar kind of got associated with good electricity for me, and that's how we grew up,
Yeah.
having that association. Yeah, so that's my personal anecdote, but yeah. uh,
But that's true. Actually, electricity in villages, which was in Swadesh, you have that scene where the old man's looking at the bulb getting lit. I think
yeah,
that's the reason what Nitish Kumar did for Bihar, that he got electricity in all the villages. Now
yeah,
I go to my village and I see that there's electricity nearly for a good amount of time, and that's good. I think
yeah,
that's a basic requirement for people. Electricity, water, these are
yeah.
basic
I mean,
requirements.
yeah, it's not even like and we our village was on the bank of the Budi Gandak, and I
Okay.
used to think that we are very far flung, very remote part of Bihar. Then I realized, Samastipur. When I grew up, Samastipur borders Patna, and
Mhm.
it's not even really that far from the state capital. So for even parts of Samastipur to not have stable electricity supply to the well into the 21st century was very very unfortunate. Now I
Sad.
think, yeah,
It's very sad. Very up.
yeah,
Matlab, you're in close proximity to the, regardless of the capital city or not. You are very like, you are in the hub. It's a urban area.
yeah. In fact, I feel now that we are living in so I live in pretty much all my time. I spend most of my time in Haryana now, and I am seeing northern states uh, kind of stress out their electricity distribution infrastructure, because they have to give free power to farmers because of their irrigation requirement and all of that, and a little bit of imprudent policy making on the governments in the northern states. And I'm seeing a lot of quote unquote backward states like Chhattisgarh, Bihar, uh, Jharkhand. I don't really call it a backward state anymore, in the sense that it's made a lot of progress now, but is any state in India really that forward? That's another question. But
That's another
uh,
episode.
yeah. So what I come to realize was that now even the northern states like Punjab, Haryana are losing on the gains that they made from, say, Green Revolution and good policy making in those days. And in places like, for example, my ancestral village in Samastipur, electricity supply has improved, say, in the last 15-20 years. So I would make a assertion now that my electricity supply in Gurgaon, which is like a tech center of India, and my electricity supply in, if I go to my village in Samastipur, is not going to be that different. In fact,
That's
DHBVN, the distribution company over here in southern Haryana, is one of the most stressed in India. So I would
hmm.
not even be surprised if electricity is doing better in those parts of Bihar now.
Yeah,
So
that's there. That's there. I think there's a huge improvement, and it's because of the NDA government putting its heart and soul into getting people what they need,
hmm,
and the voter, therefore, if electorally speaking, going towards them. अगर
hmm,
you can say कि चलो एक इलेक्शन जीत गया because of whatever reasons कि caste politics हो गया पर दूसरा इलेक्शन तीसरा इलेक्शन from 2005 to now he's
yeah,
managed to stay in power in a state
yeah,
as volatile as Bihar where
yeah,
you know everything happening from crime to development to everything there was it's very it's very non-static so he's managed to stay in power. आप चलो ठीक है if you say that it's his caste votes for him. तो
hmm,
एक portion है वो caste. Upper caste
hmm,
का upper caste gets BJP gets the upper caste vote. But it's not even the alliance which you're talking about. It's specifically
hmm,
JDU that I'm talking about right now because JDU managed to stay in power with different parties also.
yeah,
With RDP, जिसको आप कहते हो कि जंगल राज का है उनके साथ भी वो पावर में आके उन्हें सस्टेन किया काफी टाइम तक
hmm,
अनलेस until the time Nitish Kumar only moved away, but it was
yeah.
him in the make or break, I think, in the political arena there.
Hmm. And in fact, sometimes there are leaders who can shift their alliances, and just because of, yeah, and they get support from a large constituency, a large number of MLAs. I think there has to be some level of good governance, or at least good leadership on their part, for that ideology to sustain. How many times
Exactly.
can you say कि यार ये कितनी बार अपना दल बदलेंगे or whatever,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah, I
that.
mean, go on,
Agar,
sorry.
I really, no, just to sum it up, that I think
Yeah.
it is because how he's managed to, he's been for the people, for the women, where
Hmm.
he till date manages to get the women voters, and
Hmm.
for the specific needs that he's fulfilled. He's got the basic requirements. What you're talking about, electricity. He's got basic services to the people, and
Hmm.
that's what has stayed with them. That's what goes into people going and voting for him. That's what
Yeah.
matters at the end of the day. As a voter who's staying in a village, for me, someone who's managing to make me feel secure as a woman and is managing to get me electricity in my house and the stove is burning, I'm able to provide food to my family. I am satisfied. Don't
Yeah.
as a don't care कि भाई मैं मुझे नौकरी मिल रही है कि नहीं मतलब I'm talking about a rural area specific centric thing
Yeah.
that as Chirika Didi, chalo, right before elections, I've got 10,000 rupees in my account. I'm more
Hmm.
than
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
I don't care what else is happening. And that's what, when you think about high voter turnout, it's important to understand ki who actually were the people who came out to vote.
Hmm.
Was it women? Was it the youth? Was it, the loyal voters? And that's when you will be able to analyze ki, this is what a high voter turnout means. If it's the
Hmm.
youth actually looking for employment, is it that they're looking for a change? Because youth ke saath abhi ये narrative aa raha hai कि the youth is looking for a change.
Hmm.
That's when to our initial discussion ki does a high voter turnout mean anti-incumbency or not, we can
Hmm.
actually talk about who are these people who have gone out to vote.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'll circle back to that Shekhar Gupta video I was talking about, and he it pinched me, but he was absolutely right when he compared, like, even today Bihar to like sub-Saharan Africa. So even worse than sub-Saharan Africa in some ways, and it pinches you at first, but you realize, in many ways he's not wrong. We talk about jobs, but what jobs really are there in Bihar? Even after the improvement, it is, after all, just a low quality labor exporting state in today's day, right? It's one of those things that hurts to hear, but despite improvements in, say, higher education, despite now many people being 12th pass or graduates, the quality of employment they are getting is very blue collar, and I'm not demeaning any quality of work, but it's blue collar work that they are maybe overqualified for. It is often at the cost of your dignity, and it's often in other states where you will not be respected also. So these are some things that we really need to work over, and for that you need a lot of bold reforms within Bihar. And to this day, nobody really is talking about making bold reforms, and we are still somewhere, uh, stuck in the caste dynamics, in the sense कि मतलब कास्ट डायनामिक्स की तो बिहार के बारे में बात जितनी करो कम है, और वो तो चलते ही रहेगा. बट एक एक तरह की होपलेसनेस ना आ जाए. दैट्स वन ऑफ दोस थिंग्स दैट वी शुड बी वेरी ऑफ. So, speaking of that, speaking of trying to be bold, and I'm often accused of being a Prashant Kishor supporter, but I try to be very objective about this. But I do think that some of his promises were slightly bold, and let's just see if he's making an impact. What's your take on this whole thing, like Jan Suraj and everything?
Johnson, like I said last time, I really don't know if he's winning or not, whether he's making the sarkar bana rahe hain ki nahi. And post first phase, I'm even more less confident about it. Sorry for the
Yeah.
brutal honesty here,
Hmm.
but I think what Prashant Kishore managed to do, and as I told earlier, also he's managed to get people on their toes, be it the political parties, both the alliances. Both the alliances are not now just talking about Tejasvi is not going in on stage and talking about Yadav domination or how Yadavs will benefit with RJD coming into power, but is also talking about that the migrant laborers ko he want them to come back. Prashant
Hmm.
Kishore spoke about कि ठीक है I will set up factories in Bihar कि
Hmm.
migration migrate आपने train शुरू कर दी from Patna to Gujarat rather than getting factories to Patna. You've just made it easy for laborers to commute. People are happy about that, but that's not what we want. We want factories here. So now both the alliances are talking about that कि हम jobs create करेंगे, हम reverse migration करेंगे. So he's managed to actually make sure that the narrative now the political narrative is not just about कैसे किसको कितने पैसे मिलेंगे, but also about solid reforms. कि yes,
Hmm.
as I come to power, I will get these many jobs. If I come to power, I will get this for the youth or this for the women. And that's
Hmm.
something that was important. That was more towards what a type of politics that's required in today's day and age, that you're
Right.
guaranteeing not just free electricity or free water, but
Hmm.
also major serious reforms that are required for the youth of today. So I think
Yeah.
that's credit I would give to Prashant Kishore for sure.
Yeah. I think that maybe that's a sort of a weird win in itself, right? You kind of you sound
See,
naive
yes,
when
yes.
you. Sorry. Yeah. No. I was no. Yeah. No. I
Continue,
was just
continue.
saying that yeah, you sometimes sound naive when you try to speak too much about changing Bihar. And that's probably, I'm sure, when Prashant Kishore was starting this project, that's probably what a lot of his close advisors must have also told him. Ki, कभी नहीं बदलेगा, एक तरह का cynicism भी आ जाता है. So I think to make that to first make that change and to actually affect policy, like we discussed in our last episode, that one of his rhetorics was actually able to push some old age pension schemes to actually increase their
Exactly.
outlay.
That
And
for like the
yeah,
10,000,
exactly.
the 10,000 rupees or even the old age pension schemes. The reason कि हर स्टेट में हुआ कि हम इलेक्शन जीत जाएंगे तब हम ये करेंगे, regardless of the fact that you're in power right now or not. You say it
Yeah.
Maharashtra, you say it, you say Haryana, you talk about Chhattisgarh, any place, any state, be it Delhi, कि we will, after we win, we will do this. Delhi
Hmm.
mein tha, we will give a certain amount of money to women after we win the election. However, that hasn't happened till date. Nobody's got that money. However, that being said, in Bihar, just before elections happened, that money reached the women.
Yeah.
The pension scheme changed. That is because all the parties went into a serious, pressure. And I think Prashant Kishore very well managed to do that. I
Yeah.
would give credit to him for this.
Yeah, this reminds me of that one small Arvind Kejriwal clip where he's like, "पैसे से बड़ा empowerment कुछ नहीं होता." I don't know if you've seen that, but yeah,
Because
I really do think that if you are able to affect financial outlay in a pension scheme, which is a major win for somebody who's not even in government. and then say in a best case scenario even win like 5-10 seats for a debutant party. I'm just forecasting it. Yeah, you can laugh. But I think it's a win in itself. Like I will not say stop saying that you don't
Of course.
have to be the chief minister to affect public policy in a state. And I think many times you want a cabinet at the union level, or you want to become a deputy CM with a few seats. I often view that as losing your power a little bit, because if
No,
you can, yeah, sorry,
it's
go
really
ahead.
precious of him to actually contest in all the seats.
Yeah,
I don't remember when was the last time Congress contested on all the seats as a national
yeah,
party when they contest on all the seats. It's
yeah,
actually it takes a lot to get candidates to stand on those. He managed to get candidates everywhere. It's not
yeah.
that that is their only option. Like for example,
Mhm.
a certain state, in Muzaffarpur, for example, the candidate who's contesting right now wasn't their only option. There were people who were actually interested in contesting from the seat, and that was
Yeah,
across Bihar. So that is in general very impressive that
yeah,
people want to be part of your party. People want to do something, and he has been working for a long time,
yeah.
21 and to now. He
Mm,
has been on ground. There has been no other party which has been on ground. The number of seat it wins or not, can't I don't have a solid number for that,
mm,
to be frank. But he's done a great job.
mm.
He's done a really good job to
Yeah,
get candidates also to contest as a first election. Whatever vote share that he gets will be the reason. What I personally feel, these are purely personal feelings, will be the percentage of votes either of the alliances will lose from.
yeah. Fair. I think my only concern with Prashant Kishore and his way of doing politics, and I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but I think a large voter constituency and his professional background is also, people like retired civil servants, professors, journalists, those sort of people. I sometimes fear that maybe that highly educated kind of crowd may not resonate with a lot of people. But this is a raw assessment, and I hope to be proven wrong. Maybe if I had to point out one potential single point failure, maybe this could be that for me. I will ask you two questions. First, I'll ask your thoughts on what I just said, and maybe as we come closer to the conclusion of the episode, I do want to ask, although some phases of the election and all are still left, but I would like to get your predictions also to kind of put you in a spot. So
Okay. So what you said about getting a certain type of people, so-called the educated people into the whole arena, if that's what you're trying to say, I think one thing that's impressive about him, he's got very local candidates. The person who's contesting is the exact candidate who stays there, who has
right.
been between people. For example, for the constituency that I see, Muzaffarpur, the candidate who's contesting from there is a doctor who's been practicing in Muzaffarpur for the past, the number of years I remember, I can recall, which is very
Yeah.
good. आपको आपका एक एमएलए वो होना चाहिए जो जिसको आप जानते हो, जिससे आप easily मिल सकते हो, not someone who stays somewhere else and you are somewhere else, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's a very good thing that he's done. As far
Hmm.
as getting certain, doctors, journalists are concerned, that is, I think, because of the background that he comes from. The whole, the political analyst inside him sort of gave that out for him. I think that's one of the reasons. If I put key, that could be the reasons for it.
Hmm.
As far as putting me in the spot is concerned, I think you do your first prediction. I'll be second. I'll go second. I think
No. See, I don't know where my prediction become my hopes, and
I
so yeah. So if you ask me to tell you my best outcome, I think over the course of our last few episodes, my preferences have become very clear. But
that's all right. Let me
yeah,
see.
I can't say like, see, I'm not, despite doing 2-3 episodes, I would still say I'm not even that aware on like Bihar politics as much as I would like to be.
I think we're very
But
well aware of Bihar politics. You remember the last time we spoke, Nitish Kumar wasn't even in the narrative. I very much said that I don't think he's being the chief minister, but there's a part of me right now in this second episode, 7, 8 days after we shot the first one, I say that he's very much there. I have a probability, there's a tiny part of me which is saying that they might just make him the chief minister again if he wins.
possible, and I feel like it's a very likely outcome. In fact, I think that would be, now you effectively said what I was going to predict, at the cost of possibly sounding very stupid maybe one day if I'm proven wrong. But there's roughly 243 seats, right? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could say that JDU and possibly there more legislators that they might be able to rope in after the results. I could say they could easily pull in somewhere close to 170-ish. Matlab, that's again it's a prediction which I really won't be able to justify.
Yeah,
Like I said, I'm not claiming to be
okay.
an expert, but yeah, let's get your take.
Okay. I would say, oh my God, I think I'm going to do the most controversial thing in my career right now. But
You don't
I would
have
say,
to.
no, no, it's okay. I'll just say it. I feel, and I think by the time this episode comes out and by the time we do our next episode, this might just change completely. This is a disclaimer I'm putting out right now. As of today, I would say NDA 130 to 135.
Yeah.
Okay. And 130 to 135 for NDA, I would give.
Mm, yeah.
Chan Swaraj, I will give it for this episode 2 seats.
Right. Fair. I mean, that's good enough for me. I
No, it's
actually wanted to say that I don't really see. I think post-election, when the time comes to form government, I
mm,
think that JDU and NDA will blur their lines out a little bit. So I think in that frame of things, that's what I'm predicting. Again, at the cost of sounding maybe naive. So I think that whole possible alliance could come to say 170-ish. Uh,
170.
uh, yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing raw figures right now, but everybody's doing that, so might as well.
I'll give Mahagathbandhan 104, 105,
Yeah,
and 135 to 130 to 135 to NDA.
all right, fair. So,
BJP is single largest part. BJP getting the highest number of seats, followed
right,
by RJ. Because
interesting. And
last election, RJD was the highest single party to have won. So RJD was first, then it's BJP, and then JDU, and then
Mm.
Congress.
which is again why it becomes difficult to do predictions on the exact seat selection also, right? Because you don't even know if you are effectively forecasting single party figures, or forecasting the figures of an
Exactly.
alliance that you don't even know will exist.
Yeah,
Or-
that's what I said. See, the reason I with one more thing I add is I feel that the reason this NDA would benefit is with Chirag Paswan coming back.
Mhm,
20 election, Chirag Paswan's party contested separately, not the
mhm.
line,
Right.
not. So I think
Yeah,
that led to a huge lead for JDU and for the
right.
alliance. I just feel that with that not happening this time with Chirag Paswan with the NDA, I think that's going to be very beneficial for them. That's why the increase in seats that I feel that's the increase that's going to be there.
Right.
It's 101, 101 for both. BJP is also contesting 101 seats, and JDU is also contesting 101 seats. So
Right.
that's how I'm justifying the increase from the last time.
Right. Fair. So I think we can conclude our discussion for this one. We still have another episode left, so let's see how accurate or how inaccurate our predictions have been, and
The
we'll
might just
analyze
change.
those. What's that?
They might just change completely. I think
Yeah.
our second episodes after the second phase, right?
Hmm.
As
Yeah.
I think that will be, I think that's when you'll, I think, have a clearer picture, and these predictions might just change completely. So whoever's watching, this is as of today.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah. I
I
mean, yeah,
think
I would like to give a disclaimer to the viewers that if somebody just comes up and says, at this minute you said something so inaccurate, it's also because things are shifting as we're going, right?
we
So,
have one phase left. There is a lot
yeah,
of seats yet to go into poll, a lot of major constituencies that are yet to go into poll. So
yeah,
that also changes the narrative a lot. Let's see. But I
yeah,
think, and if I'm right, then I will take full credit for it.
yeah, you must. We'll cut shorts out of that and then, share it everywhere also.
Then I get full credit. Then election commission should hire me.
Yeah. There also, election commission is in desperate need of new talent and new cadres of people, because clearly a lot of strain has come on the organization lately.
I
But
have one
that's
question
also,
for you before we conclude. What do you
yeah.
think? Rahul Gandhi did a press conference before the voting day. What do you
uh,
think? The whole hydrogen bomb that he was talking about was a day before polling. Do you think that's going to impact the elections? Or would it impact the polling that the next day?
Excuse me. I do think that all of India, Bihar included, has been talking about these kind of vote theft
Good.
allegations. And excuse me, I don't know if I'm fully convinced with the argument, but the fact that a doubt has been placed in the mind of the voter, and the placing of the conference was so strategic. So I do estimate that it will have some impact on the ground. So I don't think that we can discount it. What about you? What do you think?
No, no, I agree. I fully agree. I think it's timing for that. A lot of people are saying that Haryana ka ab baat kar rahe ho, aren't you too late? So firstly, research takes time. I think he's taken a good amount of time to do that research. And in today's day and age, I think the more researched your argument is, the better it is to, rather than give out half truth, have your facts and figures in place and then say
Yeah.
something. So it's taken a good amount of time in that. That's very good. And I do feel that a day before voting sort of does, it stays in the mind of the voter when they go to vote. कि
Yeah,
यार
for
मेरा पता चले कि चलो मैं वोट कर रही हूँ इसके लिए और जा रहा है किसी और के, so it does that insecurity, that that confusion sort of does help a lot. I think
sure.
it was a good thing. It might just work well in their favor. I don't know how much it will change the electoral stand of it, but I think it does
Mhm.
sort of help them a bit.
Yeah, it's like, there is a whole body of people who don't fully believe a lot of the vote theft allegations, but the the response from the election commission has not been convincing enough.
This is a little, it's a little worrisome for people. You say, they
Yeah.
are saying कि not just for vote chori, be it the argument about getting out the videos of the polling station where they said that how can we take out our daughters and mothers' videos,
Hmm.
and it's like, what are you saying? What is this argument? This is just so stupid. So I think
मतलब,
that's the reason people are a little, that trust towards election commission का थोड़ा वो 50-50
हाँ,
हो रहा है.
And then after all, again, I'm not backing these allegations, but Rahul Gandhi is also, after all, he's doing politics. So he will also place his
Something.
allegations also strategically, which is technically his job. He will also make that attempt, right? So Haryana Chunav ke baad bhi, if they spend time gathering evidence and preparing a draft, it is politics that you will speak about it closer and closer to the assembly elections of another state where you might make headway. So I think even for the people who want to counter vote theft allegations, even they should demand a stronger response from the Election Commission of India, because it's a constitutional body after all. You can't have a constitutional body even alleged to be compromised. Even
That's
that
true.
doubt should not be placed, and the body itself should work overtime to prove these allegations wrong. And it should go beyond that statement where you're saying कि हम अपनी बेटियों का वोट करते हुए वीडियो थोड़ी डाल सकते हैं. ऐसे तो मतलब बहुत सारी और सिचुएशन में विमेन की प्राइवेसी इंडिया में अफेक्ट होती है, वहां पे तो स्टेट अपैरेटस
Nobody.
शायद इग्नोर भी कर देता है, तो वोट करते हुए वीडियो में क्या, so I it almost feels like
I think it's
maybe
very
the,
flawed.
yeah,
That's
maybe,
that justifications don't make sense sometimes.
yeah, and maybe a lot of practitioners of public policy assume double or single digit IQs on the part of the voter to say things like that. So
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, that was to the great frustration that is coming up in a lot of people, even
Hmm.
people who might want to deny the vote theft allegations. So I think that's my that those are my 2 cents, and
Makes sense. Makes sense. Convinced.
yeah. So I think we can conclude today's conversation.
Oh, you want me to give like closing remarks or just like conclude?
No,
No,
I
there's
think
no.
up to you. Up to you. Do you have closing remarks?
That's my closing remarks. Chuck there.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Bye bye.